Claudia Taylor Johnson drew her initial impression of Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy not from a luncheon for spouses or an evening social event in Washington, but rather from Jack and Jackie's 1953 Life magazine wedding pictures. Jackie, she thought, was absolutely the essence of romance and beauty. When the newlywed Kennedys moved to Washington, real life, as it turned out, was even more remarkable than the photos. As a freshman senator's wife, Jackie was a bird of beautiful plumage who couldn't have been more gracious. By comparison, Bird felt she and the other Senate wives were little gray wrens. When the Kennedys married and Jack began his first term in the Senate, the Johnsons had already been in that chamber for 4 years. In the Washington, D.C. of the 1950s, the Johnsons and the Kennedys were not personally close. They didn't run in the same social circles. In fact, by the 1956 Democratic Convention, Jack and Lyndon had become quasi-overt rivals. Elected Senate Majority Leader in 1955 and approaching the peak of his power in Congress, LBJ conveyed his standing to Lady Bird, who ruled the roost of Senate wives. Despite the differences between their husbands, Bird graciously inducted Jackie into the carefully choreographed court-like world of Washington spouses, hosting her at their brick colonial on 30th Place Northwest, and otherwise brushing up against her youth and glamour throughout the decade. Finding Jackie impossibly young, Lady Bird worked to put her at ease at these spouse gatherings. Jackie liked Lady Bird and made a point of connecting with the Johnsons' elder daughter, Linda, just 11 when they first met. But Washington was not entirely new to Jackie. At 14, she'd moved with her mother and her mother's new husband to an estate in Virginia's Hunt Country. She briefly attended the private girls' school Holton Arms, and she finished her undergraduate degree at George Washington University before marrying Jack. An accomplished equestrian, Jackie summered in the Hamptons and Newport, had studied at Miss Porter's School, Vassar, and the Sorbonne, and spoke French and Spanish. Lady Bird had studied French, briefly, and her Spanish was still limited to what she had picked up during her childhood in Texas. Jackie was 23 years old, Bird's age when Lyndon had already served for 2 years in the House. While Bird worked assiduously to grease the wheels of Lyndon's political office with endless socializing, charity events, and travel back and forth to and across Texas, Jackie struck Bird as being uninterested in the tedium of the game, content to spend her early years married to Jack as a society photographer for the Washington Times Herald, taking a course in American history at Georgetown, or repairing to Hickory Hill, the country house in McLean, Virginia that the newlyweds had purchased and later gave to Bobby and Ethel. Even if outward the cultural signs of their differences were rife, inward the parallels between Lady Bird and Jackie ran deep. Each had made her mark in Washington as the young, newlywed wife of a young, ambitious husband. Both soon had to contend with their husbands' infidelities and the humiliation of knowing that their own political and social circles knew of and, indeed, often facilitated the behavior. Miscarriage after miscarriage plagued their quest for offspring, and by 1960, both had husbands for whom serious illness made the prospect of death loom large. Addison's disease dogged JFK throughout his adult life. Depression, heart disease, and other itinerant maladies afflicted Lyndon. Both their husbands smoked and drank too much. Yet it was not until the 1960 campaign that Jackie and Lady Bird had real occasion to fully evaluate each other. By pairing their husbands on a surprise presidential ticket, the party convention that summer in Los Angeles forced upon the two women a rapid, at times uncomfortable bond, but one that eventually grew into a lifelong empathy and unexpected intimacy.